So there we go, folks. What's done is done. That's the end of the World Endurance Championship for 2025. Let's talk about the Bahrain 8 Hours. Let's talk about the winners. Let's talk about the championship. Starting off with the winners, Toyota 1-2. They've had an awful season with BOP, and they're going to hope the next season's change to the way the BOP is calculated in WEC will benefit them, especially with their upgraded car. The GR010 managed to bow out in its current guise with a 1-2 finish, nearly 30 seconds clear of the three Ferraris that came home third, fourth and fifth to take first, second and third in the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari won Le Mans this year, and they also won all of the championships on offer for the hypercars in WEC. Well done to them. It was the 50 leading home the 51, leading home the 83. And elsewhere for LMGT3, it was a win for Lexus. It wasn't the 78 that went on pole, though they had so many different mechanical issues that forced them basically out right at the start of the race. But the 87, from, of all cars, the 61 Mercedes, the car that struggled the most all season long. And yet here they were. The two oldest cars in the LMGT3 field, the Lexus RCF GT3 and the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo, end up 1 and 2, with the Heart of Racing Aston Martin AMR Vantage V8 GT3 Evo in third, ahead of the champions, the Mante First Form 92, and second in the championship, the 21 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari. But what I want to do quickly is stick with the theme with the Mercedes, because the 009, the Aston Martin Heart of Racing Valkyrie, led for quite a bit of this race. And if the strategy had lined up, if the VSCs, the safety cars, had come at the right time, they could have been on the podium here. They could have fought for the win. On pace, at one point, they were lapping 1 or 2 seconds a lap faster than the Toyotas. Something that we did also see similarly with the likes of Alessandro Guidi with the Ferrari 499P. It has been a nice end to the season for some of these teams, some of these smaller teams, or less prominent teams, or less reputable, I guess. It sounds strange to think of that when you are talking about Aston Martin, but compared to a Ferrari or Toyota in WEC, yeah, they don't have the same reputation. Hopefully it shows some promise for 2026. But at the same time, there were some quieter departures in the series. The 6 led home the 5 in the Porsche Penske's, and they were together on track, but they were 13th and 14th in the race. No manufacturers' points in their final World Endurance Championship appearance for now. Behind them was the 38, with Jenson Button's final professional motor race being very similar to his final F1 race. He ends up in a peculiar collision that lands him a penalty. Now, for the F1 one, it's if he ever shows up at F1 weekend again, he has a grid penalty. Here, it was a stop-go 30. It was a failed Zontering, as I best describe it, coming out of T3. He went around the outside of the Ferrari 54. He clipped the Ferrari 54. Ferrari 54 ends up in the wall and out of the race. But there were some also just wild moments. The 15's retirement, well, sort of retirement, I guess, where you just see them go into a corner and the right rear just goes. They were like, oh, that must have been contact while last ping someone or contact in battle. No, they just go into the corner and it just lets go. Or LMGT3 with Augusto Farfus getting into a battle with the 33. And for the second time this year, Augusto Farfus gets flipped off by a Corvette. You know, if I had 2 nickels... But yeah, here are the final standings then. 115 points for Collado, Giovinazzi and Pierre Guidi, with Hansen, Kubica and Giuffre on 102. And yeah, what you then see is Porsche Penske on 94 with no score. 81 for Hearts Team Jota. Elsewhere, yeah, it's Mante first form from Vista AF Corsa from TF Sport when you have a look at the standings in LMGT3. And yeah, Ferrari. And then, interestingly enough, when you look at the team's standings, Toyota get ahead of Porsche. 171 to 165 and Cadillac on 158. If you looked at the standings coming into it, you wouldn't necessarily expect that coming out, but 1-2s and non-scores end up putting such a surprise, such a twist on this final weekend in 2025. Unsurprisingly, clean sweep in the World Cup for hypercar teams for AF Corsa. And also unsurprisingly, the LMGT3 teams turned out the same as LMGT3 drivers. But it was a good weekend for a lot of these different drivers. It was somewhat predictable in places, but at the same time, whilst it was predictable in some of these cases for some of these drivers, it was still a good race to follow. But either way, folks, thanks so much for watching and joining. Thanks for listening to me as I've been talking about this, both in terms of this video and if you've been here for a while this season. Thanks for following the season. I recently saw somebody saying that they want to see more sports car content in this channel. So if you are one of those folks, please let me know in the comment section down below. I need to go through my predictions, because I'm pretty sure that thanks to this weekend, I've just had a massive sweep of all of my preseason predictions. Including, well, Ferrari will win at least one title and Porsche will win one. Now, Toyota winning one, we didn't get. But I'd be interested to see how it pans out. Thanks for watching, folks, and until next time, it's bye-bye for now.